Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is Predictions with PCJ. I am the one and only Pop Culture Junkie here today for the Royal Rumble 2024 predictions. And we've got more than just the Rumble to talk about. It has been a crazy past 12 hours in the world of wrestling. We're going to get into a whole bunch more things than I planned on talking about today. I'm going to try to make this video not be as long as it possibly could run. So we're going to burn through as much information as we possibly can quickly. We've got news and rumors to go over. We've got the Royal Rumble predictions. On top of that, we've got a lot of news that just popped up that's going to be added to the news and rumor section. And we're going to also go over fan questions. So thank you very much ahead for all of you who sent me questions via Twitter and Facebook and private messages. Remember, I will be live tweeting during the Royal Rumble pay-per-view on, premium live event on Saturday evening, this Saturday, through Twitter or X. I'll be on there live tweeting, sharing my thoughts, opinions, and just enjoying the show, hopefully, just like we all will, hopefully. So let's just dive into this currently. Usually we start this show off with me talking about the current product. Well, the current product, if you want my feelings and opinions on that, you can follow me on Twitter, as well as my Facebook page, as well as TikTok, Instagram, etc. And I share a lot of my opinions pretty much up to date on that. Let's get right into the crazy stuff that's happening right now. So first of all, we started off this week with they announced Netflix is going raw. They have announced starting in January 2025, WWE Monday Night Raw will be going to Netflix exclusively. You will only be able to watch WWE Raw on Netflix. I think as well they have announced that it will also include premium live events, so the pay-per-views will be on Netflix. SmackDown, I think, is still going to be on USA for a while. It may jump to Netflix as well, but for currently it's still on SmackDown. Premium live events, of course, now only going to be on Netflix, so Peacock is not going to be carrying those. And then they've announced also that the actual WWE Network, which is still available in other parts of the world, not USA, but in other parts of the world, they're also going to be closing that down, I believe, by the end of the year or something like that, is the last I heard. So that was one of the big news stories right away, was Netflix getting to have Raw. What does this mean? Are we going to go down to 2 hours again? I hope. There's no reason for it to be 3 hours, because they also said it will be commercial ad free. So we won't have to worry about any commercials. And if you actually time out Raw, it's about 2 hours and 15 minutes without commercials. So why have 15 extra minutes? Just shave that down to 2 hours. We're good. We don't need 3 hours. Even Triple H has famously said on the Stone Cold podcast years ago, it is brutal having to script 3 hours. That third hour is just too much, and it's never been good. It's dragged the show down. So let's get it down to 2 hours. We also had another news announcement. Dwayne Johnson was named a new board member for TKO, which is the parent company of WWE. They're the ones that bought WWE last year. He's been named a new board member. So he's getting his return in the wrestling business via being a board member. We thought for the longest he's done with wrestling. He's gone off to Hollywood. He makes sporadic appearances every once in a while when he needs a little bit of extra media attention, or really, let's face it, last year he needed some serious damage control after he partnered up with Oprah Winfrey about that the Maui Fund of People Life, I don't know, whatever that scam was. They got called out on that, and they got busted. And he had to show up on SmackDown to be like, hey, I'm still cool. You guys still like me, right? Come on, man. We're seeing right through you. Go back to Hollywood. You even went back to Fast and Furious, and you said you weren't going to go back to that. What does that say? But anyways, he was named board member Tuesday morning. Later on that night, on NXT TV show, William Regal made his return to NXT. And what does he do? He announces that Ava Raine, The Rock's daughter, has been named the new GM of NXT. She's like 22, 23 years old, has not really done a lot in the business. I don't watch a whole lot of NXT. I don't hear a lot of good things about her progress in NXT. I hear that she's not very good on the mic. So how are you going to be a GM? And this is not a coincidence, okay? This is just, obviously there was, hey, I'll do this if you do this, if you do this for her. So it's a little sad. I don't care for it. If she's got talent, if she can make it work, good. Show us. But otherwise, this is just your typical nepotism, and it's sad. I mean, it's sad when they've done it for guys like Randy Orton. Don't get me started, guys. You guys know how I feel. Go ahead, at me, tweet me, whatever. I don't care. Yeah. Same thing with her. No. She's just getting handed something because of who she's related to. Not like the other, people we can name, like Roman, Usos. Don't at me. Don't at me. I know what I'm saying. I do know what I'm talking about. A lot of y'all don't think so. A lot of y'all don't like it. And that's fine. I don't want to get into a Twitter war. Not right now. But the other thing that came out with involving The Rock is that he now owns the name The Rock. He hadn't owned that ever. He was always going by Dwayne Johnson whenever he was doing his movies because WWE owned The Rock character, or the Rock name. But when he would use it for a movie, then they had to give him he had to give WWE a little taste of that money because they owned it. But that helped him advertise his movies because he would advertise Dwayne Johnson is the Tooth Fairy and then didn't get much attention. Dwayne The Rock Johnson in Fast and the Furious. Oh, there you go. Whatever. That's how he was getting more attention to his movies, was when he could use The Rock, but then he would have to give some of that money to WWE. Now he owns the name, so I don't think it's really worth much anymore compared to what it would have been 15 years ago had he found a way to get it, but they weren't going to let him have it back then. They wanted to still get a piece of The Rock after he basically retired in 2002. So the big breaking news of today is that Vince McMahon has been sued by an ex-WWE employee who claims he sex trafficked her at work. That's straight off of TMZ's headlines. You name it, as far as any kind of news affiliate or wrestling dirt sheets, they're everywhere about this story right now. So I'm going to share some information that I've been reading that is just absolutely crazy. I'm going to read what I can read because some of this stuff is just over the top. So it says here that there is a former employee who worked in the office, and the name I've come across so far is Janelle Grant, and apparently she was involved in a lot of sexual relations with both Vince McMahon, allegedly, and also potentially Johnny Laurinaitis, and even some other employees that would join in on the fun. And there's allegations in this document or statement that's been released. You can read it online. It's about a 67-page document that covers a whole lot of things. There's text messages, photos, and screenshots of text messages from Vince McMahon and the alleged victim of just a lot of really sick, dirty text messages. These are all allegations, okay? So nothing has been proven. Nothing's been taken to court yet. No one's been arrested yet. There's nothing there. We're at the early stage of where everything is just coming out now. And right now, Vince McMahon is being sued for allegedly forcing himself on this woman, passing this woman around in other sexual engagements with other employees, including John Laurinaitis. There's also another thing that came out saying there's allegations of Vince McMahon and a former UFC fighter and WWE talent. There's people that are familiar with the matter identified the wrestler as Brock Lesnar, potentially, because obviously former UFC talent and current WWE employee. The suit says that Mr. McMahon shared the explicit photos with the star and informed Grant that he likes what he sees. After the star agreed to a new contract, McMahon texted Grant in August 2021 to say that part of the deal was F-ing you. And this is something between McMahon and Brock Lesnar and the victim. It says here that in July 2021, the suit said McMahon instructed Grant to create personalized sexual content for a WWE superstar that he was trying to re-sign. We know Vince and Brock are always dealing with re-signing, and apparently this was part of a deal. Like, hey, I'll give you some hot photos or videos of somebody doing things if you'll re-sign. And if this is true, this is not looking good for either Brock or Vince, especially. I mean, obviously, if either one of these guys is involved in doing stuff like this, they deserve everything that's coming to them, and I feel sorry for the victim. obviously. I don't know who to believe in these things, and I'm not the one to say which way you should believe either. So this is all stuff coming out today. I'm not going to read all the text messages because they're just over the top crazy. The last thing I'll put on here, I'll share with you here is from the lawsuit, quote, in June 2021, McMahon and defendant Laurinaitis sexually assaulted Miss Grant inside Laurinaitis' office in WWE headquarters while colleagues were busy at their desk behind a locked door. The two men cornered her and pulled her in between them, forcibly touched her before ultimately putting her on top of a table in between them. She begged them to stop, but they forced themselves on her, each taking turns restraining her for the other while saying, quote, no means yes, end quote, and, quote, take it, bitch, end quote. Damn! Like, do you really put it past this being true? I mean, this doesn't sound far-fetched if you really see the kind of people Vince and Johnny Ace are. I mean, this is not a surprise. I'm just surprised it's finally coming out. It's not out already. I'm surprised they're not already in a lot of trouble, but money gets you out of anything. The last other thing I said last second ago, but this is just too, I gotta share this. This is crazy. Last thing here. From the lawsuit, quote, as one example of McMahon's extreme depravity, on May 9th, 2020, he defecated on Miss Grant during a threesome and then commanded her to continue pleasuring his friend with feces in her hair and running down her back. While McMahon went to the bathroom to shower off, upon his return from the bathroom, McMahon and his friend actively resumed the threesome, which lasted over an hour and a half while Miss Grant remained covered in McMahon's filth. When McMahon's friend left, McMahon ordered her to stay and to continue to sexually gratify him. Okay, so if you've never watched WWE from Attitude Era and Ruthless Aggression Era, all that time period, then you may not realize how much of a fan of poop Vince is. Look at how much poop has been involved in storylines. Look up Spirit Squad, and you'll see lots of that. Vince likes potty humor. He likes poop humor. You can listen to Bruce Pritchard. He talks about it all the time on his podcast. Jim Cornette has famously shared stories as well of Vince's sense of humor. Now, what does this mean? Is Vince going to actually get held accountable for this? We know all the accusations that came out a year and a half ago, or almost 2 years now it's been, something, where he was, again, allegedly assaulted a woman in a limo. He has the history of all these NDAs we don't know all the details on. So what does this mean? Is Vince going to finally, get held accountable for something where he can't just pay it off outside of a courtroom, and he actually does get prosecuted and potentially serve a little bit of time? I mean, it's going to be a white-collar prison where he just plays tennis all day, if anything, but is it going to happen? Is there enough evidence to show, that he should be, held accountable? I don't know. We're going to find out. This is all brand new, but reading these quotes from the articles is just crazy. And there's more. There's more to it. I keep saying last, but here's another one. The lawsuit filed in a Connecticut federal court describes in graphic detail Grant's account of interactions with the businessman and the TV personality. She alleged that McMahon and another WWE executive locked her in an office in WWE's headquarters in Stamford, Connecticut on June 15, 2021, and took turns sexually assaulting her while other staff were working. In the middle of another workday on June 23, 2021, McMahon locked Grant inside his private locker room at WWE's office and forced himself on her over a massage table, the suit said. Later that day, McMahon's personal assistant delivered $15,000 in Bloomingdale's gift cards to Grant in her office. So he paid her off for having a good time? Okay. Yeah, I mean, money makes you think you can get away with whatever you want. I mean, we've seen that in other sports. Football, basketball players get away with this. Coaches, owners, and of course, don't get started on Hollywood. I mean, we can just talk about the Weinstein scandals and the Cosby scandals, all that sick stuff. So, wouldn't put it past WWE and a professional wrestling owner to be able to do all this kind of crazy stuff too. Crazy. this is just a crazy story that's come out today again. And again, there's just so much to dissect that this podcast, there's so much to go over on this. This could go on for a good hour or two just talking about this, let alone the rest of the show. So, uh, what are your thoughts? I want to know everyone's thoughts. I want to talk about this more, but I'm just going to end up rambling. So, share comments or tweet me, tweets on my Twitter. Anything, just share. I want to hear more people's opinions and thoughts. I'm watching everything on Twitter unfold as well, and a lot of people have a lot of interesting opinions on this, so share yours. All right, guys, that's the news and rumors. Don't really have any. Well, I guess you can call all these rumors because we don't have anything concrete. There's a lot of rumors in that lawsuit there, and it will be interesting to see what happens on SmackDown tomorrow night. It will be interesting to see what happens at the Rumble. Brock Lesnar was allegedly going to make a surprise appearance at the Men's Rumble match. I don't see that happening now with this. The crowd's not going to let him get out there without tearing him apart if they're reading the news. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right, that's it for news and rumors. Let's go on to the main reason you tuned in would be PCJ's predictions on the 2024 Royal Rumble. And there's only a few matches, so this is going to be very quick. Let's start off. We have the United States title match. Champion Logan Paul defending against Kevin Owens. Predicted winner Logan Paul. I don't see why they'd have him drop the belt this spot here. Maybe they get a rematch at Mania with a stipulation added, like a ladder match or something. That would be awesome. They don't have any plans for Kevin Owens to be in the world title picture right now, so I totally be fine with a rematch at WrestleMania with a ladder. They need a ladder. We need a ladder at WrestleMania, I think. So Logan Paul getting the win here. And I'm sure it'll be some kind of interference because they always have one of his friends show up dressed as one of those douchey prime bottle things, or somebody throws a pair of brass knucks in or something. So it's not going to be a clean win. Or actually, they've been doing the gimmick right now where Owens is taking off the cast, right? Something like that. So I'm guessing Logan Paul is going to take the cast from Owens because he said he wasn't going to wrestle with it on. So he'll take it from him at ringside, and then he'll give him the knockout punch that way probably, and then pin him. So it'll still be a dirty pin. It won't be a clean. Then the only other matchup, single match or non-Rumble match announced is the WWE Undisputed Universal Title Fatal 4-Way match. Ugh, they gotta change the name of that belt. The champion, Roman Reigns, versus AJ Styles versus LA Knight versus, another guy who gets away with everything, Randy Orton. We know Roman Reigns is not losing this belt at Royal Rumble leading into Mania. He should have lost the belt years ago. Should have lost a lot less, years ago. Anyways, Roman's going to pin LA Knight. LA Knight's in this just to take the pin. Will Priest attempt a cash in? No, not for this belt. If Seth Rollins was cleared to wrestle and was going to be having a match, then yes. I could see even Priest maybe trying to cash in during the Rumble match. That would be interesting. But no, he's not going to even go near Roman Reigns. The Women's Royal Rumble match. So far, only a handful of women have been declared as participants as of this recording. My picks for who will be number 1 and number 2, I'm going to say Becky and Asuka. Will there be a surprise entrance? I think it'll be Naomi, because she just dropped the belt in TNA, and I think her contract's ended, and she might be heading back so she can be with her husband. He may need a designated driver still, right? So I think it's going to be Naomi showing up, and then possibly Liv Morgan. I don't know if she's still dealing with legal stuff right now because she was recently pulled over for having some substances on her. I think she was even under the influence, maybe. I don't know if she's dealing with that, and they want her on TV yet, so we'll see. But those would be the two I would say surprise entrants. Will there be any legends? Probably. I don't really count those as a surprise. Probably you see either Trish, Lita, maybe. I doubt Michelle McCool. We get her too often. Mickie James would be nice. We've seen her before, even when she's still with TNA. She showed up wearing the Knockouts title. So final 4, I chose Naomi, Nia Jax, Bianca Belair, and Bayley. And my predicted winner, Bayley. She needs to win. She needs to win. and I want her to go on and challenge Rhea Ripley. I want Rhea to lose the belt to Bayley, and then you have Io and Bayley both with belts. But I'm sure we're going to get some kind of damage control split where Bayley ends up challenging Io. But we'll see. Lastly, the men's Royal Rumble. Again, only a handful of guys have been announced as participants so far, so there's no telling who. Now, I made these predictions before today's bombshell of a news day happened. Who will be number 1 and 2? I wrote Johnny Gargano and Brock Lesnar. So we'll see. Who else would I say? I would say maybe Gargano and Gunther. That'd be interesting. Will there be any surprise appearances? I wrote Brock Lesnar and Braun Breaker. So I'm going to say at least Braun Breaker. He'll probably be in here for a little bit. Now my final 4, I chose Drew McIntyre, Cody Rhodes, Damian Priest, CM Punk. Winner, CM Punk. Only thing that makes sense, CM Punk. All right, and lastly, let's go on to fan questions. Thank you so much again, everyone who sent in your fan questions, whether it was on Twitter, Facebook, or you sent me some DMs as well. Some of y'all sent me comments and just said, hey, I just want to ask you a question, but you don't have to give me a shout out on the show. So I replied to all of you already. Thank you again, and you can always follow all my different social media. They're in the description of every video, including the one you're watching now. So let's go on to our questions. First question I have, Sonic Doom. Do you think we will see Punk versus Cody at WrestleMania? Oh, absolutely. I don't think it'll be this WrestleMania. I think Punk wins this Rumble. He goes on to challenge... I would prefer he goes on to challenge Roman and win, but I think they're going to have him go on to challenge Seth Rollins, and he'll lose the belt to Punk. Punk will get the new World Heavyweight belt and carry that for a long time. And then I think Cody wins the Undisputed Universal thing from Roman, hopefully finally, at Mania. And they both have nice title runs. And then by the time we get around to WrestleMania next year, hopefully one of those two still has a belt, and then they have their match. That seems the best option for me. But what do I know? The Man Called Stan. Welcome back, PCJ. I remember your first ever video was recapping the 2015 Royal Rumble while driving in your car. Yes, true story. That's where it all started, folks. Question, what is your favorite food to have while watching a pay-per-view? I gotta go with pizza. Pizza or barbecue. I'm in Texas. We got some of the best barbecue, right? But yeah, pizza, definitely. Just give me a meat lover's pizza with pineapple. Jeremiah, who would you book to be the final 4 in the Rumble? And what surprise entrance would you like to see in the Rumble? So I shared my final 4 already, which was Punk, Drew, Cody, and Priest. At least that's for the men's. And then I shared for the women's was Bayley, Naomi, Nia Jax, and Belair. Your other question was, what surprise entrance would you like to see in the Rumble? Obviously, we all want to see MJF show up, but I doubt that's going to happen. But I would love to see MJF show up. That would just really skyrocket WWF or WWE. I always say WWF, I know that, but yeah, that would definitely elevate this show a lot. Who else could I see? Maybe, I don't know. I'm trying to think of somebody we haven't seen in a while that would actually make an impact. It's kind of hard. I would definitely like to see someone like Stone Cold show up and just start throwing people out. That'd be fun. There's the video that came out on Raw with Hogan saying, like, maybe I got one more left in me. I'm like, how are you even going to get in the ring? I mean, you're going to just literally roll out. I mean, he's beat up people, whether you love him or hate him. His body's been through a lot, and he can't walk without a cane. So, yeah, would I like to see someone like that? Of course. Tom and Nick. Play on the Dominic. Tom and Nick, what are your top 3 Royal Rumbles? Mine are 2012, 2019, and 2020. Well, hey, I was at the 2020 Rumble, and it was a great Rumble because obviously we got the return of Edge, and I marked out like crazy in the audience. That was unbelievable. So I don't know if you got to see that in person like I did, but it was awesome. But you put 2012, 2019, and 2020. I don't know if you're a younger fan because these are more recent Rumbles to me. top 3 Royal Rumbles for me, 1991, that's the first Rumble I remember watching over and over and over and over. So that one has a lot of good memories. The whole card itself is awesome. Warrior versus Slaughter for the title. Macho Man going crazy on the Ultimate Warrior throughout the show. You got Virgil and Dusty and Million Dollar Man and Dustin Rhodes. Their tag match was great. The opening match, Rockers versus the Orient Express, awesome. So yeah, all in all, that's a very memorable Rumble for me. 92, the year after, Ric Flair winning the entire Rumble to win the vacant title. That was amazing. Piper won the IC title from the Mountie. So yeah, that one's also one of my tops. 2001, Stone Cold winning his last Rumble before going into WrestleMania 17. That also had the ladder match for the IC title of Jericho versus Benoit. So those definitely tops for me. There's other good ones. The 89 Rumble from the Summit in Houston was great. I wasn't living in Houston at the time. I was only 9 years old. Wouldn't have gone to that show anyways, but that would have been a great one to go to. But that's also a fun Rumble to rewatch. Last question, we have Kitten Hunter. After this week's Raw, Cody and Punk are being compared to Austin Rock. Thoughts on this? Yeah, I've seen a lot of people comparing. The promo they had was really good. I enjoyed it on Raw this past week. And I've had people posting the, what's the song? The Limp Bizkit, My Way, which was an awesome song for the promo package for WrestleMania 17. And I've seen people playing that song over footage from the promo battle they had on Monday, trying to make a comparison. Hey, that was a great promo, and Punk and Cody are good. They can both do very well with promos. They can wrestle. They're good pro wrestlers. We don't have that many in WWE especially, but we don't have that many that are great pro wrestlers these days compared to before. But if you think that's on the same level, you didn't experience the Austin Rock stuff when it happened. The Austin Rock stuff was on another level that has never come close and will never be met or surpassed. No one, period. Austin, still forever, greatest of all time. WWF, or possibly the greatest professional wrestler. Biggest name of all time. His numbers are incomparable to anyone else, with the exception of maybe Hogan. But I think even then he blew out Hogan by doing more in a small time compared to Hogan's like 6-7 years or so of being on top. Austin was only on top for a few years because of an injury, because of that neck injury he got from Owen at SummerSlam 97. His time was cut short, but he did so much in such a little time that blew everything away. It's like, again, without Austin, there is no Rock. Not the Rock we got. No. And, Punk and Cody, they've feuded minorly years ago in WWE. They didn't really cross paths much in AEW, of course. But then now we're getting just a couple of promos. No. Austin and Rock feuded starting in 96 over the IC title. By 97, they were feuding over the IC title. They started battling over the WWF title late 90s, 98, 99, all that. So it's like, no, they had a giant feud building up to 2001, WrestleMania 17 era. So yeah, no, I can't compare that to that. I would say they have a chance if they get rid of Roman, get rid of the Bloodline BS and all that stuff, build on this for the next couple of years, then maybe, yeah, but it's too soon to call it that. All right, guys and gals, that's it for this edition of Predictions with PCJ. Ran a little longer than I had planned, but again, we had just like a giant amount of news come in today that just could not be ignored, and I had to address on here because it's just very, very interesting and crazy shit. But I thank y'all for listening. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you will tune in on Saturday and follow me along on X or Twitter. I still call it Twitter. Go ahead. I think everyone else does too. But I'll be live tweeting on Twitter at PopCultureJunkie and letting everyone know my thoughts and opinions. And we'll see what happens in the Rumble, and we'll see what happens in WWE, period, with all this stuff going on. Okay, till next time, this is the one and only PCJ. I'm signing out.